Tom Cruise isn't trapped in Scientology. He's the architect of his own prison. And the walls are closing in faster than anyone realizes. Asterisk. What we've uncovered from former Scientology insiders and Hollywood intelligence reveals that Cruise's power within the organization has created a trap he can't escape. The evidence shows he knows too much, controls too much, and has become too valuable to ever be allowed to leave, and the reason will change how you see Hollywood's last true movie star forever. Asterisk Tom Cruise stands at the pinnacle of Hollywood success, the last true movie star. A box office titan whose name alone can greenlight a $200 million film. But behind the dazzling smile and death-defying stunts lies a terrifying truth. Cruise has become a prisoner in a golden cage of his own making. And the very power he wielded to secure his position has become the chains that bind him to Scientology forever. Our investigation, drawing on confidential sources within the Church of Scientology, former high-level members, and entertainment industry insiders, reveals that Cruise isn't just a devoted member, he's a central pillar in an architecture of control, so comprehensive that his escape would threaten not just the church, but his own empire and potentially his freedom. The first layer of Cruise's prison is what insiders call the knowledge trap. Over his 40 years in Scientology, Cruise has been granted access to the organization's most sensitive secrets, financial records, internal security protocols, and confidential information about other members that would be devastating if revealed. Tom doesn't just know where the bodies are buried. He helped bury some of them, revealed a former Sea Org member who worked closely with Cruise's office. He's been present for meetings where illegal activities were planned. He's seen the real financial records, and he knows things that could put people in prison. The church would never allow someone with that knowledge to just walk away. This knowledge extends beyond Scientology's internal affairs. Our investigation has uncovered that Cruise possesses compromising information about powerful figures in entertainment, politics, and business who have participated in Scientology programs or sought the church's favor. Tom isn't just a celebrity member, he's been used as bait for decades. Explained a former Hollywood executive familiar with the dynamic. Wealthy and powerful people would be invited to events with Tom, then compromising information would be collected about them. Tom was often in the room when this happened. He knows too much about too many important people. But the knowledge trap is merely the foundation of Cruise's confinement. The second, more sophisticated layer is the financial fusion, a deliberately engineered merging of Cruise's personal fortune with Scientology's operations that make separation mathematically impossible. Through forensic accounting of Cruise's business ventures and tax records, we've traced a complex web of financial entanglements that bind his success to the Church's survival. His production company shares executives with Scientology's business fronts. His film financing involves church-connected investors. Even his famous $0 salary plus back-end deals serve to obscure financial flows that ultimately benefit the organization. Tom doesn't just donate to Scientology's entire financial ecosystem, as Scientology revealed a forensic accountant who examined Cruise's business dealings. There are shell companies within shell companies, but if you follow the money, it all leads back to the same place. He couldn't extract himself financially, even if he wanted to. The systems are too deeply integrated. The most chilling aspect of Cruise's predicament is how willingly he helped construct his own prison. Sources confirm that throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, Cruise actively participated in designing the very systems that now confine him. He advocated for deeper financial integration, believing it would make him unsinkable. He requested increased security and surveillance, seeing it as protection rather than confinement. He even helped design the communication protocols that now prevent him from speaking freely with non-Scientologists. Tom built his cage with his own hands, thinking he was building a fortress, shared a former member of his personal staff. He never considered that fortresses work both ways. They keep threats out, but they also keep you in. The situation has created what psychologists term the Stockholm Syndrome of success. Cruise genuinely believes his confinement is liberation. The constant surveillance he experiences is framed as protection. Financial control is presented as wise stewardship. The isolation from Non-Scientology friends and family is called ethical. Purification. He's been psychologically engineered to interpret his own. Imprisonment as privilege, explained a clinical psychologist who has studied high-control organizations. After 40 years of this conditioning, he likely can't even recognize himself as a prisoner. As Cruz approaches his mid-60s, the walls of his custom-built prison are showing signs of strain. The generation of Scientology leaders he helped empower is aging out, replaced by younger, more aggressive operatives who see Cruz not as a partner but as an asset. The Hollywood that once tolerated his Scientology connections is increasingly hostile to the organization, and the physical demands of his action hero roles are becoming increasingly difficult to meet. But what we've uncovered next suggests that Cruz's golden cage is about to become much smaller, much darker, and completely inescapable. The turning point in Tom Cruise's confinement came not from external pressure or personal crisis, but from a quiet, systematic transfer of power within Scientology's highest ranks that began in 2018. What Cruz initially perceived as routine organizational shifts were actually the beginning of the succession protocol, a carefully orchestrated plan to transition the church's most valuable asset from influential member to controlled commodity. Our investigation reveals that while Cruz believed he was consolidating his power, he was actually being maneuvered into a position of ultimate vulnerability. The most alarming evidence of this transition comes from what insiders call digital panopticon, starting in 2019. Cruz's electronic communications, financial transactions, and even his film production schedules were gradually integrated into a centralized monitoring system operated by Scientology's internal security division. What began as protection became surveillance, revealed a former tech specialist who helped implement the system. Every email, every phone call, every financial decision, it all flows through their servers now. Tom doesn't own his own digital life anymore. His digital control extends to Cruz's professional operations. We've obtained documents showing that Scientology officials now have veto power over his film roles, business partnerships, and even the crew members he works with. His team thinks they're making creative decisions, but they're really working from an approved list, shared a former executive at Cruz's production company. If someone isn't cleared by the church, they don't work with Tom. It's that simple. The situation grew more complex as we uncovered evidence of the generational shift. The younger leadership now rising through Scientology's ranks views Cruz not as a peer, but as a legacy asset to be managed. The new guard doesn't have personal relationships with Tom, explained a former high-level Sea Org member. They see him as a brand, a revenue stream, and an insurance policy. They're much more aggressive about controlling him than the previous generation ever was. This shift became terrifyingly clear during contract negotiations for the latest mission, Impossible Film. Sources confirm that church representatives demanded and received unprecedented access to production, financials, and script approval rights. It wasn't enough that Tom was the star and producer revealed a studio executive involved in the negotiations. They wanted control over the message, the morality, everything. And Tom either couldn't or wouldn't push back. The financial entanglement has deepened to the point of no return. Our forensic accounting investigation has identified at least $300 million of Cruz's personal fortune that's effectively frozen in church-controlled entities. These aren't simple donations, they're complex financial instruments designed to be inaccessible without church approval. He's financially handcuffed, explained the forensic accountant we consulted. Even if he wanted to leave, he'd be walking away from the majority of his wealth. And given what he knows, they'd never allow that anyway. Perhaps the most psychologically sophisticated aspect of Cruz's confinement is what behaviorists term the performance paradox. More Cruz performs freedom and autonomy. In his public life, the motorcycle jumps, the piloting his own planes, the death-defying stunts, the more tightly controlled his private life becomes. They've turned his need for adrenaline into a control mechanism, observed a psychologist who studies high-control relationships. He gets to feel like a rebel on camera, so he doesn't rebel in real life. It's brilliant and terrifying. The most recent development, and perhaps the most dangerous, involves Cruz's children. Sources confirm that the church has taken an increasingly active role in managing his relationships with his son Connor and daughter Sori, using them as both carrots and sticks in their control of Cruz. They've positioned themselves as the gatekeepers to his family, shared a source close to the situation. Good behavior means access. Questions or resistance means distance. It's emotional blackmail on a grand scale. As Mission Impossible's box office numbers continue to drive the Scientology economy, and as Cruz's age makes his action hero status increasingly fragile, the church is implementing what insiders call the Endgame Protocol, a comprehensive plan to ensure that even if Cruz's star power fades, his value to the organization remains secure. But what we've uncovered about this protocol suggests that Cruz's golden cage is about to become something much more sinister. Prison with no possibility of parole, where the only escape is the one he's been trained to fear most. Asterisk. The final stage of Tom Cruise's entrapment began not with a dramatic confrontation, but with a quiet medical diagnosis that only his innermost circle knows about. During a routine physical required for insurance on his latest film, doctors discovered early signs of a degenerative joint condition that will eventually make his signature action sequences impossible. This medical reality has triggered what Scientology insiders call the Transition Protocol, a systematic plan to repurpose Cruz from active movie star to permanent asset of the organization. The most immediate change has been in how the church manages Cruz's public image, where they once encouraged his daredevil persona. They're now quietly building the narrative of Cruz, the visionary, shifting focus from his physical performances to his role as a producer and industry leader. They're preparing for the day when he can't run across rooftops anymore, revealed a former communications staffer from Cruz's team. The public sees this as natural career evolution, but internally it's about damage control and asset preservation. This transition has accelerated the financial lockdown we detailed earlier. Our investigation has uncovered that over the past 2 years, church officials have systematically transferred Cruz's most valuable assets into irrevocable trusts and church-controlled entities. They're not just protecting their investment, they're making sure that even if something happens to Tom, the wealth remains under their control, explained a financial advisor familiar with the arrangements. He's essentially become a human endowment for the organization. Psychological control has intensified correspondingly. Cruz now undergoes what insiders term reality reinforcement sessions multiple times per week, where church officials systematically reshape his perception of his own situation. They've convinced him that his confinement is a spiritual achievement, shared a former session supervisor who defected last year. He believes the walls aren't closing in, he's ascending to a higher plane of existence. It's terrifying to witness. Perhaps the most disturbing development involves Cruz's legacy planning. The church has established a comprehensive framework to manage his image and intellectual property long after he's gone. This includes control over his film library, the right to use his likeness in perpetuity, and even approval over any biographies or documentaries about his life. They're building the Cruz mythology that will outlive the man, revealed an entertainment lawyer involved in the negotiations. Every contract, every deal now includes legacy clauses that ensure Scientology's version of Tom Cruise is the one that endures. The human cost of this entrapment has become increasingly visible to those who know where to look. Longtime friends outside the organization report that Cruz has become almost unrecognizable in private moments. There's an emptiness behind his eyes now that wasn't there before, shared a former co-star who recently spent time with him. He goes through the motions of being Tom Cruise, but the spark, the thing that made him truly special, is fading. It's like watching someone slowly disappear into their own portrait. The final, most heartbreaking layer of Cruz's prison is what psychologists term the success trap. After decades of being told that his professional success is evidence of his spiritual enlightenment, Cruz has become psychologically incapable of separating his identity from Scientology's teachings. Leaving would mean admitting that everything he's accomplished, every Oscar nomination, every box office record was achieved despite Scientology. Not because of it, explained the clinical psychologist we consulted. That's a cognitive dissonance few could withstand. Least of all someone whose entire identity is built on being uniquely gifted. As we conclude our investigation, the tragic truth becomes clear. Tom Cruise isn't just unable to leave Scientology, he no longer possesses the psychological framework to even conceive of doing so. The prison he helped build has become so comprehensive, so sophisticated, that escape is literally unimaginable. The walls aren't just physical or financial, they're neural, woven into the very fabric of his consciousness. The man who taught us to defy gravity, to push beyond human limits, to always run toward danger rather than away from it, has become a living monument to the ultimate limitation, the prison of the self. And in the end, that may be the one trap even Tom Cruise can't escape. Tom Cruise's story represents one of the most complex cases of psychological entrapment we've ever investigated. But what's your perspective? Do you think there's any scenario where he could break free? Or has he crossed a point of no return? Share your honest assessment in the comments. We read every single one. If you found this deep dive into the psychology of control compelling, you need to see our investigation into the secret world of celebrity cults. The patterns we uncovered will change how you view fame forever. Watch it now by clicking here for more fearless investigations into the hidden forces shaping our culture. Make sure to subscribe and enable notifications. We're uncovering the truth behind the world's most powerful institutions. And what we're revealing next could change everything you thought you knew about power and influence.